Doing certain things leads applications to fail. The dream of studying at a German university is destroyed by relatively small and simple mistakes that could have been avoided. If you don't want to spoil your potential of studying in a country with one of the best higher education systems in the world, this video is just for you. Hi guys, I'm Evgeny Alexeyev, and today I want to share with you 6 common mistakes that might destroy your application to a German university. Spoiler alert, I personally consider the 5th one to be the biggest and the most common one, so make sure to watch the video till the end to make your application outstanding. I have applied to different programs several years in a row, talked a lot to study advisors in different universities, gathering all the necessary experience, and now created this video to share with you some valuable information in a clear and structured form. If you are new to my channel, it's all about helping you to improve every aspect of your life. I have a playlist of videos all about studying in Germany with a great number of practical tips for you. Feel free to subscribe to maximize your chances of entering your dream university in Germany. Now, let's get started. Applying to only one program. Chances are there is a certain study program in a certain university which you consider to be the most appropriate one for you, given your personal and professional background as well as your desired future. If not, definitely check this video where I help you to find it out. So, this program is what you're focusing on. That's great, you must put your 100% to get a place there. But at the same time, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Even if you consider your chances to be very high, you never know what could happen. Maybe the number of applications in your concrete year would be incredibly high. Maybe the number of available places would be lower than expected. Whatever, it's always good to multiply your chances of getting accepted by increasing the number of applications. Now, you have 2 ways to do that. The first one is to take a look at other programs that your desired university offers. If it's somewhat similar, some courses might be shared with your top priority program, chances are you might find it interesting. Also, the requirements should be pretty much the same, which would make your applying process much simpler. The second way is to look for the same study program or a very similar one at different universities. Now, the advantage is you don't really need to settle for something that is only somewhat appropriate for you. That's your top priority in terms of your desired courses, career plans, as well as like-minded people around you. The drawback might be that it's a different city from the one you ideally would like. But hey, you never know what you end up liking. A big city like Munich might sound great, but personally, I would never go for it due to high prices as well as complexity of finding a place to live. You also probably don't need to change your motivation letter a lot since it's basically the same study program. But please be very careful here as you might make the second common mistake which I want to share with you. Making the same application to every program. Imagine for a second that you are a member of the admission committee in the university and you are going through the applications one by one. Most of them feels to be more or less the same general language that could be used for any application. And suddenly you notice something special, let's say a motivation letter that is specifically dedicated to this concrete program. An applicant mentions the concrete courses he or she is interested in, outlines how this concrete program with their specific background would help them to achieve their concrete goals. Making each individual application focused on the concrete study program you're applying to significantly increases your chances to get a place. Open the description of the study program, find there what resonates with you the most and express it in your application in a proper way. Sure, the most important thing that has to be unique for each program is a motivation letter. But not only that, you can also modify your CV as well as additional documents to point the admission committee to the things in your background that are the most relevant for this exact program. The last point leads us to the next potential mistake. But before we move on, if you find this video useful so far, hit the like button to help this video spread to more people as well as help me to promote my channel. It significantly helps with the YouTube algorithm, so if it's not too much to ask for, I would highly appreciate your like. Thank you a lot, and here is the third mistake you should avoid. Limiting your application to just necessary documents. You go through the required documents, you check whether you have everything that's necessary, and so you decide that you're good to go and you stop at this moment. I would argue that it's a bad strategy. Let me explain. Your overall application score is the sum of the points you get for all parts of your application. The higher the number is, the more chances you get to enter your desired study program. I have a dedicated video in which I explain how many points you can get for each of the documents and of course how you can achieve the maximum amount. Definitely check it out, the link would be in the description. One of the categories where you can easily achieve some additional points is extracurricular activities. You can get up to 10% of your overall score for it. It could be anything that represents you as a versatile person or a person that serves the society. Volunteer work, seminars, sports, workshops, online courses, foreign languages, whatever you might think of. Sometimes you might just forget that you have done something or achieved something, so I would suggest you take a piece of paper and brainstorm everything that might fit. As always, you don't want to overdo, so try to find some balance between quantity and quality, focusing on the relevance and significance of the documents. Not only it gives you some additional points, it also makes your application more holistic. If you have some volunteer work in your additional documents, you might mention it in the motivation letter explaining how you helped other people as well as how this activity helped you to improve. Here is one example of how I used additional documents in my application. One of the compulsory courses in the first semester of my desired study program was based on CS50 course from Harvard University. As part of my preparation, I have completed this course online and have got an official certificate from Harvard. I have attached it to my additional documents and mentioned in the motivation letter that I did it specifically for this concrete study program. This one point alone made my application stand out and showed my genuine interest in the program. The next biggest mistake you might make is leaving too little time to rewrite your motivation letter. I have written tens of motivation letters in my life and I'm pretty sure a bunch of them is still ahead of me. But at first I was completely lost in terms of what to write there. In Ukraine, my home country, I never needed to write those letters. So it was completely new for me and I had to acquire the skill. Looking back now, I understand that the first letters really sucked. It was self-centered, without any deep connections to the program I'm applying to. It had no holistic structure, rather just a number of paragraphs representing different parts of my life. Overall, it just wasn't a fascinating story to read. But you know the golden rule of progress. Practice makes master. So with the time and a bunch of failures, my motivation letters became to improve. I started to realize what should be written and even more importantly, how it should be written. And the most important factor of my progress were the people around me who read those letters and expressed their constructive criticism. Using their feedback, I could improve my work, sometimes rewriting the whole paragraphs. And of course, this whole process takes a lot of time. So my advice would be to start writing your motivation letter at least a month before you plan to finish it, especially if you don't have a lot of experience. If you want a concrete plan of how to make your motivational letter outstanding, feel free to check my video on the topic. The link would be in the description. Not having someone reviewing your application. This is the biggest mistake you can make when you're applying to university or anywhere else for that matter. Even if you have checked everything multiple times yourself, it's so easy to miss something important. It's because you're inside of it, you spend a lot of time in the process and your eyes simply don't notice important details anymore. To give you one real and very embarrassing example, I'm gonna tell you how I applied to 2 different scholarships a few years back. I worked really hard for several months to make my application as good as possible. Nevertheless, pretty soon after I applied, I got a rejection from one of the scholarships. Couldn't understand why I didn't even make it to the second stage of the application process, until one day I accidentally opened the motivation letter for this scholarship and saw that the first sentence says that I am applying not for this scholarship, but for the second one. Such a stupid mistake which could have been avoided if only I asked someone to check my final application. So always have somebody to look at your documents with fresh eyes before you submit it. Small mistakes that make huge impact. Sending incomplete applications or sending it at the last moment. While you are trying to improve your application, don't miss the right moment to send it, especially if you are sending it with a post, which is usually required in Germany. Try to reserve some time for unexpected time delays, employee strikes, whatever it could be. Don't allow random events to spoil your dream. And of course, make sure that your final submission contains all the necessary documents. Now, you might be wondering how it actually is to study in Germany, how challenging it might be, how hard you have to work to be successful. In this video, I'm sharing with you my experience, my ups and downs, so you can get an impression of studying in Germany as well as not repeat my mistakes. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get even more useful information.